Hello, salut, and konnichiwa, mis amigos, and welcome back to Overwatch 2 and episode 3 of the QuickPlay podcast. Today I am joined by the resident Mercy main and support role guru, Miss Lucky Charms. Lucky, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Glad to be here.
The Flex God himself, Twix, how we doing?
Good, man. Just painting my walls. I'm all happy today.
We're not going to get into why he said that. And the number one critic of everything Overwatch, Cole, how we doing?
Suffering in silence, but here we are.
Yeah, that's about the response I expected. Anyway, today we will be discussing the support role, character by character, what we think of the role as a whole, and what we can do to balance it so that balance it for the better of the entirety of the game. We'll get a general opinion of support currently from everybody. Lucky, why don't you go first?
Well, I feel like Anna didn't need the nerf to her grenade, to be honest with you. I don't think that supports don't need to be nerfed in general. I just think that they need to focus on what's more needed, which isn't really so much as healing. Like, I feel like Mercy's damage boost nerf was kind of needed, especially with pockets, but I only really play a couple healers, so I can only really give you my opinion on what's been nerfed, but I don't like Anna's nerf. I think they need to put it back. If anything, they should nerf her like anti-need maybe.
Okay, so as support as a whole, you think its balance needs to be nerfed, or just a few outliers?
I feel like I don't know. Maybe. I feel like maybe they need to work on more nerfs to certain healers. I don't think all of them are balanced, but I think some are balanced and some are just needing tweaked.
Okay. Twix, thoughts, opinions, concerns?
I think, yeah, Anna really didn't deserve that nerf, to be honest. I think overall support, it's okay overall. Some heroes might need to be tweaked just a bit, I would say. Because I think supports really, you would say, are overpowered, quote unquote, in some ways, with their combination of their off healer or main healer. So, I think it's just okay, but there could be some tweaks we can get into later on.
Okay. Cool.
I think most of the healers are fine. Again, I say most. I think one of the biggest ones that stand out to me is Alari. She's just really annoying to deal with, and I feel like the next support that they add is going to be just like Alari, where they have a primary weapon and then a secondary weapon is going to be their healing, which I think is going to be a dumb design decision.
Okay. I guess that's a decent assessment, because obviously the last three supports have all had the same kind of primary, secondary kind of kit. Because Kiriko kind of has Kunai, healing Ofuda, Lifeweaver obviously has Thorn Volley, and then the Blossom and Alari, the Sunbeam, and then her rifle. As Lucky's main support duo in Overwatch 1 and subsequently 2, I normally off healer. We did force Mercy Lucio to a certain amount of success, but in any event, support as a whole is it's not complete. It's the bad apples that's ruining the orchard. I will say that. And it's causing an uproar, obviously, oh, it's supports need to be nerfed. And it's like, I don't think it's supports that need to be nerfed. It's just the support passive probably shouldn't be there because it's the only passive that actually does anything in this game, and it's on arguably the best role in the game as well. And obviously the outliers, in my opinion, are Bap, Kiriko, Alari. For the simple thing is that they can do too much, basically. And everybody else kind of has their niche and way to go about things. But you get a Kiriko, Alari, and or Baptiste. They're essentially the same thing, except like especially Kiriko can two-shot you from across the map no matter what. Alari can deal with the flankers by herself and not have to worry about healing her team because her pylon does it and stays up forever. And then Bap does too much damage. But we'll talk about the supports one by one. Go ahead and start with, I guess we'll start with the elephant in the room, which is Alari. I guess I'll start with her. I think, sorry, 1 second. Okay. I think she as a character is the right kind of unique in the way of saying, like, we haven't had someone like her, and most of her kit is unique, but at the same time it's not done the right way. I think that her rifle does too much damage. I think if I want to say a fully charged shot is 75. I think it's 100 to the face, actually, too. But even with body shots, she can two-shot a tracer. So she makes flanking obsolete as far as that goes. Her pylon needs to be on a cooldown, to be honest. Not a cooldown, excuse me. Timer. I think 6 to 8 seconds, something like that. And then maybe bring down her cooldown. I think right now it's 12 if it's not broken and 16 if it is. So maybe bring it to 10 to 14 to compensate. And I think other than that, maybe actually, and then to also compensate, give her boost away, her boop, like a 20 heal for Alari. Just a heal burst to herself. Because you nerf the damage, you nerf the pylon, you're going to have to give her something else. I don't think she needs it, but it would be a way of being like, hey, look, we did address the problem, and we gave you a little something else, so don't bite off our heads. Lucky, thoughts, opinions, concerns?
On Alari?
Yeah.
I agree. I think her pylon needs to definitely be nerfed. And I think in general, when it comes to healers, that they need to stop releasing healers that primarily, I feel like people focus battle too much. Like, there's a difference between battling different, because they say in the, like, when they give you tips that you can battle to, like, defend your teammates, but I feel like people just battle to battle, and it's annoying when you're playing a support role. Like, if you want to battle, just play DPS or tank, you know? Like, otherwise, why are you healing? But I think Alari definitely needs to be tweaked more. I know they're trying to fix it, but like when compared to when she was first released, she's a little bit better, but they definitely need to focus more on her nerfs for sure.
Gotcha. Cole?
I would have to agree with you on nerfing her shot and her heal, but I feel like if you nerf the pylon, I feel like maybe again just maybe, if she does her boop away, it should not only heal herself but also heal her team. The design that Alari and a lot of these other healers have is just going to be just like Mercy, where you have to pick a primary option or you have to do a secondary option. And I think that's just a terrible design decision as a whole, to be completely honest. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Twix, I'm gonna come back to that one. Twix.
Yes, I agree with pretty much her pylons. I would say it's give like a timer. I would say instead of having me up constantly, almost gets destroyed. Her damage, yeah, just nerf that. I would say, and I agree with Cole on the her her pushback ability. She pulls people back. Have it give like a little like boost of heal towards her and her team, just a little bit, not a big one, just a small one. Yeah, pretty much that's all I have for Laurie.
Okay. I'm not. I like the idea of it only being a solo ability, the boop, and then give herself a little boost to heal. I think if you give it the Baptiste and Brig inspired treatment, then you get into the realm of, well, now you're gonna have to up the cooldown on the boop because she's getting too much utility out of it in the wrong ways. Because it's obviously supposed to be oh, I'm in too deep, let me be able to get this, reposition, and reassess. Versus, I'm just using this mid-fight because we're grouped up, and it's essentially just a mini Inspire. And I think that's probably a little bad. I'm gonna touch on what Cole said, and then that the support should only do, or at least how I heard it was like support should only do one thing, which is heal or DPS, which I don't think is a good way to go about it, because it makes it so that like, hey, I'm just heal botting, and if I can't do that right, I'm useless. So then I'll switch to this and like, oh, we don't have enough heals. Well, I wasn't healing right, but I'm doing enough damage, but we're still dying because we don't have enough heals. So like, in my opinion, I think that's someone who doesn't play the role type of opinion. As far as simply saying like, oh, support should just support or heal, excuse me. Like, because the role is support, not healer. If it was healer, then we can have a different conversation. But the whole thing of support is to support in all manners of the game. And then when you take that away, you lose the autonomy of what the game was purposed for. But that's just me, kind of on my soapbox. Any rebuttals? Cool.
I mean, you kind of said it. Like, supports need to do kind of like, not everything, but they need a balance between both of those things, between keeping their team up and doing a little bit of damage. I think that's kind of like the proper way to kind of make supports, because like how you said, like it's called support, it's not called healer. You have to kind of balance both.
Yeah,
But,
and I think
rebuttals here.
yeah, I think I know what you're saying, because obviously the outliers are the reason that you're saying that, because like the Kirikos, the Ilaris, the Babs, to a lesser degree, and I'll get to her in a second, to a lesser degree Ana, it's like, well, you're battling all this time, we're not getting heals, and you're like just fragging on your own, but we're still dying type situation, which you're like, well, I'm doing my job, I'm supporting. You guys just, need to get better at the game. But I think that's more of a case-by-case basis. Ana, what we'll talk about next. In the latest little, I guess it's kind of a mid-season patch. Well, when it happened, it was mid-season. They nerfed her grenade to 12 seconds. This is what, like Is this like the fourth nerf to her grenade since, well, to Ana basically since the inception of Overwatch 2?
I would believe so, but I know, I think I know what you're referring to, because I know when she came out, she got some massive nerfs,
Because
and
they
just kind of
nerfed her
left alone
sleep,
for a little bit.
they nerfed her nade twice, they nerfed her damage, or they gave her damage and then nerfed it back. Because she was uh, making Tracer unplayable, and they can't really have that. The tank sleep nerf, I understand it a bit as someone who plays Ana. I'm like, 3 seconds is still a while for you to get out of there. Out of, like, if you're out of position, 3 seconds is still long enough for you to actually be able to get out. Most of the time, if you're out of position, that's your fault. The nano grenade that keeps getting nerfed is stupid, to be honest. There's no reason that nano grenade needs to get nerfed. I understand that, like, oh man, I can't get healed for this amount of time. It's stupid, honestly. And what a lot of people were saying were just like, if you want to nerf nade, don't nerf the cooldown, nerf how long the anti is. And then make it more of a selfish ability, kind of like, well, essentially how it should be, which is, oh, I'm getting dive, let me fucking grenade myself so I have a burst of healing and I can hopefully get out with it. Rather than using it offensively every time you throw it. But yeah, I'm more speaking because I play on a decent amount. Like the nano grenade nerf is not needed. Because that wasn't the issue. Ana isn't an issue, to be fair.
I have an idea. I have an idea about that grenade.
What?
Depending on how you use it, it should be on a higher or lesser cooldown. Let's say if you hit a certain amount of people with it and your teammates, it knocks a certain percentage off the cooldown, like a certain amount of time. If it's an enemy and you hit it, it takes longer to come back. Kind of like a balancing act kind of thing. You know, like
So you want to essentially give it the Genji dash treatment?
Yes, kind of something like that. Yeah.
I do think you go into the realm of like, well, I understand that one actually a bit. You get it back faster if you use it selfishly, and then if you use it offensively, you get it back. I don't know, cause then like it depends on how much you affect. Like right now, let's say they revert it to 10, and then let's say you heal yourself and 2 other people and you get down to 8. That does throw off the timing that the enemy has to account for. Like, okay, well, she just used nano grenades, she should have it back in 10 seconds. It's our time to thing. And then she has it back in like 7 to 8 seconds, and then she tosses nanos your entire team, and then her tank just fucking rolls you. Like you can't outplay that exactly, and that's the problem with it. Is like you can't outplay the anti unless you have a Kiriko or your Zarya. Or like you have these niche characters that can get the anti off of themselves. Except for Kiriko, obviously she's not niche. But like a Reaper, Moira. That's it really. Reaper, Moira, Zarya, Kiriko are the only people who can get off.
Oh yeah, and Reaper.
Yeah. In that regard, it's just kind of like, I don't know what they need to do, but I think what they're doing to Ana right now is stupid, and it's not needed. And she's getting the Sigma treatment, which is, although they haven't nerfed Sigma, and they should address something with him, I don't know what, but he's a victim of circumstance. Like, he looks OP because of the characters around him being so successful, so therefore boosting his ability, kind of like how, at least in Owl, RIP, when Joker Queen came out, it was just Jotes. It was, what was it? Junker Queen, Genji, and then Reaper or Sojourn, Brig, Kiriko. No, Lucio, Kiriko. No, excuse me. Lucio, Brig, Lucio, Kiriko, Brig, Kiriko. Like that was the comp that every fucking team ran for the up until the grand finals when it switched to a Winston meta. But like that's what it came down to. Junker Queen got nerfed into the ground because she was too good with the team around her. And I think like Ana is kind of getting that treatment, but she's the only support getting that treatment. Because I think that she's a very popular support to play. Lucky, Twix, any thoughts, opinions on Ana?
I can't really say because I don't play her that often, but I do agree that that nerf to her grenade was unnecessary. Pretty much, I would say.
There's not much I can say because it's already been touched on. I think, like they've said that her healing grenade didn't need to be nerfed. Like, I feel like they're just focusing on the wrong things. Honestly, they just need to not. I mean, how many times have they nerfed her grenade? Like, I don't even remember. But I think they could focus on maybe like nerfing her damage when she's damaging, because you know they don't touch like the actual healing rate of her rifle. They just keep nerfing her healing grenade, which is kind of dumb, but I don't know.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Her DPS I know went up to 75 for like maybe a season and a half. And then she got nerfed back down because she was making Tracer unplayable, because if she hits Tracer twice and doesn't have recall, the Tracer's dead. I don't think they nerfed it any further. I think it's like 65 or 70 a shot. I could be wrong. It's like somewhere in the realm of like 50 to 70 per shot is her DPS. I think it's the same for healing, but I could be wrong. But I think the overall ruling is that like Ana needs more work in the right direction than all these constant nerfs. Agreed?
100%.
Okay. Next is BAP. I played some BAP. I'm not gonna say I play it to a high level. I think I do mistime some stuff. I will say that BAP, they are nerfing him from his mag clip is going from 45 to 36 in the next season. And that is the stupidest fucking change for BAP. That's not even the issue that people are having with BAP. It's his fucking damage. Because he can do, what is it, like 40 per shot? And he has a 3-round burst?
I think so.
It's
yeah,
like
because yeah.
It's like 35 to 40 for body shots per burst, or not per shot per burst. So it's like roughly he can 2-shot if he mixes in some headies, he can 2-shot anything with less than 250 health, which is everything except for Bastion and Reaper. And then obviously tanks. So it's just like, and then they nerfed his immortality fuel, which once again, they're not nerfing the right part of the kit. There's a Pikachu now. Like the immortality field, the problem with it is that you don't have to be an LOS of it to receive the immortality. It can be around a corner and you can still receive the immortality, which is the stupider part because you can't outplay that. I can't shoot it to take it down. Last time we talked about BAP, oh no, excuse me. I was listening to another podcast and they talked about how to work out a possible thing for BAP's immortality is that you can damage the person in it to a certain degree, and then after that, all the bullets are magnetized to the little the disc wherever it is. So if it's around a corner and there's a soldier shooting you from it, and you get down to the damage threshold, which is 50 health, or whatever the percentage is. I think it's 50 health, or 25% of overall health, maybe. Once you hit that, then all the bullets are magnetized to the disc. Therefore, you can break it around corners just by shooting them. That was one way they said to fix the immortality field. As far as him as a whole, I think his jump is obviously the jump is fine. The heal burst is fine. The immortality field obviously is going to be an issue because the ability for you to not stop anybody from dying and it's a cooldown is tough instead of an ult. His window doesn't need to be that fucking big in 5v5. It made more sense for them to adjust it to 6v6, but since the correct way to play it is to use it selfishly, it should just be a square again, like it was when they originally had BAP out. And then nerf his damage. Not the clip size, just the damage. If you want to keep the clip size at 36, that's fine, but he needs his damage nerf, because otherwise you're not addressing the issue of BAP, which is his DPS. Anybody thoughts? Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna mention something about the lamp. What if they changed it to like a deployable thing where within like a certain amount of time you have to like recall it back, or else you lose it for like the whole cooldown kind of thing? You know, it can still be destroyed and everything. You know, if it gets destroyed, then it's a full cooldown. But like you have the option to call it back, or make his immortality not necessarily like a field, but like a beam that that Baptiste has to use to kind of like keep someone alive.
I think at that point you get away from what the character wasn't designed to be. Like obviously you still have the immortality thing, but it's not in the way that, let's say, the hero fantasy was meant to be put, and at that point you're just like, then just remove the character. You're like, or rework the character to the point where it matches what you want, what the general consensus is, like, this is what we want. Kind of like what they did with Hog, even though no one likes the Hog rework. Well, at least none of the Hog players do. Like, they're like, oh, it seems good, but it's still, Hog's still a shit character. Twix, Lucky, thoughts, opinions?
Yeah, his damage is a problem, a big problem. Now, again, I don't play him that often, but if you know how to play him well, he is a very devastating hero to deal with. So yeah, his damage, I would say nerf that. Also, do you think if they do a rework, should they make his lamp his ultimate instead? And maybe give him like a new ability to replace that? Like instead of his field? What can they do?
I think that if they made immortality his ult, it still doesn't give you, because at that point then it needs to be buffed, because then it needs to be kind of like a Mercy Valk, where just like it just attaches to everybody like a spider web. Like that would be, because obviously like if you use immortality ult in this certain situation, and then it can't be countered, or
what if they, let's say, if you use the ult in like a certain radius, only his allies get the immortality, but he is not. It only supports his teammates instead of him. And
so,
if he dies, it loses the immortality.
So essentially like a immortality but Valk.
In a way.
Excuse me. Valk but immortality instead.
You would say that, but only affects his teammates, not him. If he dies, that mortality is gone. Also, it has to be on a certain time limit as well.
I guess it does leave the thing of like, okay, but how do you outplay it? And I think that's what it can't be an ability that is simply just press it, win game. or like win team fight. Like I know ults are supposed to be that, but like if you can't counter it, then it's at that point it's in the realm of OP, essentially. And I do understand like that would be a move in the right direction to make immortality an ult, so therefore it's just not an ability that's on like a 25-second cooldown. But then you're like, okay, so what's his new ability? Is his new ability a tiny little window maybe that boosts his healing or damage? Like he gives himself a little mini window? Or because at that point then you're just like, okay, well he still has his ult, but now it's on cooldown, and now his ability is an ult on cooldown.